Hello, welcome everyone to the 2024 RUSA Book and Media Award Ceremony at ALA Live Learn X, where we celebrate so many outstanding award recipients and best of lists. This morning, we will begin with the announcement of RUSA's notable book lists and other best of lists, and will culminate with the exciting announcement of the winners of the 2024 Carnegie Medals for Excellence in Fiction and Nonfiction winners. Many of the reasons why this is a can't miss event. The awards and lists we're hearing about this morning support and enhance a critical aspect of library work. While libraries continue to change in significant and important ways, their role in helping people find good things to read and helpful information that can transform their lives stays constant. The RUSA notable book list and other RUSA lists being revealed today, and of course, the long list and short lists generated by the Carnegie Selection Committee offer easy ways to identify a great array of quality reading and listening suggestions. They support your work as you help patrons discover the best fiction and nonfiction titles, as well as the full range of informational resources. Today, we will hear directly from committee members about the behind-the-scenes selection process as they announce their winners and best of lists. ALA and its divisions and offices are fortunate that so many important initiatives are supported by committed sponsors, including the Carnegie Corporation of New York, which has contributed toward the funding of the Carnegie Medals from the beginning, and Novelist, which continues as the event sponsor of both RUSA Book and Media Awards and the celebration of the Carnegie Medals that takes place every year at annual conference. A special thank you as well to the publishers of the books and media considered for the awards and lists we're hearing about today. Thank you all, librarians, supporters, and book lovers, for all you do year-round to generate enthusiasm for good literature and to help people find books, media, and other resources that entertain, inform, and enrich their lives. And now I'd like to introduce Sarah Duff, the chair of RUSA's Notable Books Council.
Thank you, Sarah. This year, the Notable Books Council considered over 660 books. I know we say this every year, but it was a truly difficult task to narrow that down to our 26 book list that we have today. This year, we saw many books with themes of alternate history, some marriage dramas, some family dramas, and more. Since 1944, the goal of the Notable Books Council has been to make available to the nation's readers a list of very good, very readable, and at times very important fiction, nonfiction, and poetry books for adults. This year's notable books are fiction, Biography of X by Catherine Lacey, Farrar, Straus, and Giroux. An artist's widow reckons with grief by seeking the truth about her late wife against the backdrop of a richly detailed alternate history. Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. Pantheon Books, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. Incisive allegory and brutal violence combine in a thought-provoking dystopia about the dehumanization of incarcerated people and the power of love. Dearborn by Hassan Zinedine. Tin House. Stories of heritage, family, and trauma interconnect within a Michigan Arab American community. Hangman by Maya Binyam. Farrar, Straus, and Giroux. A man embarks on a surreal journey to visit his ailing brother, returning to his home country after years abroad. In Memoriam by Alice Wynne, a Borzoi book published by Alfred A. Knopf, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. A love story of two young British men who leave their boarding school for the trenches of World War I. North Woods by Daniel Mason. Random House, an imprint and division of Penguin Random House, LLC. A New England forest endures the animal and human lives that first inhabit and later haunt it. Open Throat by Henry Hoke. MCD, a division of Farrar, Straus, and Giroux. A mountain lion wrestles with the encroaching human world and the desire to both join and destroy it in a brief fever dream of a novel. Same Bed, Different Dreams by Ed Park. Random House, an imprint and division of Penguin Random House, LLC. An audacious experimental novel about the history of Korea, real and imagined. The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. Riverhead Books, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. Black, Jewish, and European residents of Chicken Hill cleverly navigate the discriminatory and hypocritical social structure forced upon them by white Christian America in the mid-20th century. The Reformatory by Tananarive. Saga Press, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, Inc. An imprisoned 12-year-old boy is haunted during the Jim Crow era while his older sister grapples with racist bureaucracy to secure his release. YN by Esther Yee. Astra House, a division of Astra Publishing House. A surreal, slippery novel traces a woman's obsession with the K-pop star as it spirals into questions of the self and identity. Nonfiction. A Fever in the Heartland, the Ku Klux Klan's plot to take over America and the woman who stopped them, by Timothy Egan. Viking, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. A Midwestern demagogue rises to and falls from power in a gripping story with terrifying relevance. Dyscalculia, a love story of epic miscalculation, by Kimon Felix. One World, an imprint of Random House, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. The demise of a relationship spurs a reckoning with trauma and a journey toward healing. How to Say Babylon, a memoir, by Sophia Sinclair. 37 Inc., an imprint of Simon & Schuster, Inc. A poet finds her voice as she breaks free from the abuse and constraint of her Rastafarian father. King, A Life, by Jonathan Eig. Farrar, Straus, and Giroux. Newly revealed documents create an intimate portrait of the man and his ministry in the context of the civil rights movement. Master, Slave, Husband, Wife, an epic journey from slavery to freedom, by Ilion Wu, Simon & Schuster. Self-emancipation prevails against all odds when an enslaved couple uses perceived identity to claim power. Mott Street, a Chinese-American family's story of exclusion and homecoming, by Ava Chin. Penguin Press, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. Lost and erased stories from multiple generations find new life in this imaginative and epic recounting. Our Migrant Souls, a meditation on race and the meanings and myths of Latino, by Hector Tobar. MCD, a division of Farrar, Straus, and Giroux. A reflective and complex examination of Latinidad and Latinx identity, history, experience, and culture in the United States. Poverty by America, by Matthew Desmond. Crown, an imprint of Random House, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. Meticulous research excavates the factors that perpetuate income inequality in the United States. The Exceptions, Nancy Hopkins, MIT, and the Fight for Women in Science, by Kate Zernicki. Scribner, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, Inc. A struggle for truly equal opportunity in elite academia illustrates the sometimes flagrant but often subtle contours of modern discrimination. The Great Displacement, Climate Change and the Next American Migration, by Jake Biddle, Simon & Schuster. Escalating disasters and their far-reaching consequences are made personal through portraits of individuals and communities. The Talk, by Darren Bell, Henry Holt and Company. Microaggressions and outright prejudice mark the author's path to adulthood in this memoir that artfully interweaves flashbacks, pop culture, and current politics. The Wager, a tale of shipwreck, mutiny, and murder, by David Gran. Doubleday, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. A ship flounders, placing the captain and his crew at odds in this riveting examination of human behavior in desperate circumstances. Poetry. Promises of Gold, Promesas de Oro, by Jose Olivares, Henry Holt and Company. A bilingual exploration of love's varieties, romantic, familial, platonic, cultural, self, and societal, celebrates their contradictions and nuance. Side Notes from the Archivist, by Anastasia Renee. Amistad, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. A vibrant, meditative preservation of Blackness and Black womanhood. Trace Evidence, by Sharif Shanahan. Tin House. Queer desire, death, and identity collide in this piercing collection. Join me in a round of applause for these outstanding selections. I'd also like to thank our council, including Dr. Joe Phillips, our vice chair, Crystal Chen, Paige Bentley Flannery, Marianne Ramirez, Catherine Fenix, Kristen Ellen Vogel, Robin Lupa, Rochelle Lundy, Dr. Valerie Freeman, and Dr. Tricia Clark. And now I'd like to introduce Stephanie Handy, Chair of RUSA's Reading List Committee.
Thank you so much, Sarah. As she said, I'm this year's Reading List Chair from the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled at the Library of Congress. The Reading List highlights outstanding genre fiction in 8 different categories. The 8 genres currently included in the Reading List Council's consideration are adrenaline, fantasy, historical fiction, horror, mystery, relationship fiction, romance, and science fiction. The Reading List Council's members include 11 expert readers advisory and collection development professionals. Over the course of the past year, these individuals have considered more than 800 titles for the reading list. After extensive reading, discussion, and many rounds of voting, we narrowed that list down to the winning and shortlist titles that I'll be announcing today. While the contents of these books cover a broad expanse of material, one theme did emerge over the course of our deliberations. The past couple of years since the pandemic have seen a lot of focus on books dealing with grief and comfort in turn. This year's offerings, however, saw an explosion of adventure and exploration. So many of the books that our group read this year involved adventures to lands both real and imagined, travel by land, sea, and sky, and characters pushing themselves out of their comfort zones to discover strength and identity while learning more about what life has to offer. And now, this year's reading list winners and shortlist. For Adrenaline, our winner was Better the Blood, a Hannah Westerman thriller by Michael Bennett, Atlantic Monthly Press, an imprint of Grove Atlantic. Our shortlist included The Antiquity Affair, a novel by Lee Kelly and Jennifer Thorne from Harper Muse, an imprint of HarperCollins Focus, LLC. Blood Sisters by Vanessa Lilly from Berkeley, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. Going Zero, a novel by Anthony McCartan, Harper, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. And The Last Word, a novel by Taylor Adams from William Morrow, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. For fantasy, our winner was Gods of the Weirdwood, the Forsaken Trilogy, Book 1 by R.J. Barker, from Orbit, an imprint of Hachette Book Group. Our shortlist included The Adventures of Amina al-Sharafi, a novel by Shannon Chakraborty, from Harper Voyager, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. Starling House by Alex E. Harrow, a Tor book published by Tom Doherty Associates, Tor Publishing Group. Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher, a Tor book published by Tom Doherty Associates, Tor Publishing Group. And Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee, a Tor.com book published by Tom Doherty Associates, Tor Publishing Group. For historical fiction, our winner was Lady Tan's Circle of Women, a novel by Lisa C. Scribner, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, Inc. Our shortlist included The Bookbinder, a novel by Pip Williams, Ballantine Books, an imprint of Random House, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. Essex Dogs by Dan Jones, Viking, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. Hang the Moon, a novel by Jeanette Walls, Scribner, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, Inc. And Looking for Jane by Heather Marshall, Atria Books, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, Inc. For horror, our winner was The September House by Carissa Orlando, Berkeley, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. Our shortlist included Black River Orchard, a novel by Chuck Wendig, Del Rey, an imprint of Random House, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendricks, Berkeley, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. Out There Screaming, an anthology of new Black horror, edited by Jordan Peele, Random House, an imprint and division of Penguin Random House, LLC. The Reformatory, a novel by Tananarive Due, Saga Press, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, Inc. For mystery, our winner was A Disappearance in Fiji by Nilima Rao, Soho Press, Inc. Our shortlist included Death Comes to Marlowe, a novel by Robert Thorogood, Poison Pen Press, an imprint of Source Books. Grave Expectations by Alice Bell, Vintage Books, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. Mother-Daughter Murder Night, a novel by Nina Simon, William Morrow, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. The Tumbling Girl by Bridget Walsh, Gallic Books. For relationship fiction, our winner was The Mostly True Story of Tanner and Louise by Colleen Oakley, Berkeley, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. Our shortlist included The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brommer, St. Martin's Press, an imprint of St. Martin's Publishing Group. Mame by Jessica George, St. Martin's Press, an imprint of St. Martin's Publishing Group. The Museum of Ordinary People by Mike Gale, Grand Central Publishing, a division of Hachette Book Group. The Sweet Spot, a novel by Amy Popel, Emily Bessler Books, Atria, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, Inc. For romance, our winner was Role Playing by Kathy Yardley, Montlake, an imprint of Amazon Publishing. Our shortlist included 10 Things That Never Happened by Alexis Hall, Sourcebooks Casablanca, an imprint of Sourcebooks. Business or Pleasure by Rachel Lynn Solomon, Berkeley, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. Curves for Days by Laura Moore, Sourcebooks Casablanca, an imprint of Sourcebooks. We Could Be So Good, a novel by Kat Sebastian, from Avon, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. For science fiction, our winner was House of Gold by C.T. Reesey, 47 North, an imprint of Amazon Publishing. Our shortlist included Infinity Gate, Book 1 of the Pandominion by M.R. Carey, from Orbit, an imprint of Hachette Book Group. Meister of Decimon City by Brenna Rainey, from Camcat Books, an imprint of Camcat Publishing, LLC. The Scourge Between Stars by Ness Brown, a Nightfire book published by Tom Doherty Associates. Where Peace is Lost, a novel by Valerie Valdez, Harper Voyager, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. For the complete list, including annotations and read-alikes for the winning titles, please visit rusaupdate.org. I want to thank the following people for their service on the Reading List Council and the tremendous amount of effort that they each put forth in selecting the best in genre fiction this year. Erin Boyington, Ann Cox, Michelle Drovedal, Stacy Heyman, Sarah B. Hill, Diana Touche Harold, Liz Kirchhoff, Carla Lucht, Carrie Richmond, and Katie Shorling. Join me in a round of applause for these outstanding selections and our hardworking committee members. And now I'd like to introduce Alicia Alvers, Chair of RUSA's Listen List, Outstanding Audiobook Narration Committee.
Thank you, Stephanie. We will now turn to the Listen List Outstanding Audiobook Narration, which highlights extraordinary narrators and listening experiences that merit special attention by a general adult audience and the librarians who advise them. The Listen List Council selects a list of 12 titles, including fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and plays. This year, our dedicated committee members evaluated 251 titles with a total listening time of more than 3,161 hours. Thank you to Janice Dare, Lauren Cage, Julie Ann Murphy, Eve Niren, and Carmenita Turner for their stellar work. As the nominees are announced, you will notice that this was a year filled with unreliable narrators, clever social commentary, and unusual settings. We really had to stay on our toes to keep up with the lives of our complicated characters. I am pleased to announce that this year's selections are The Adventures of Amina El Sarafe by Shannon Chakraborty, narrated by Lamis Isaac and Amin El Jamal, Harper Audio. The most feared pirate in the Indian Ocean, Amina El Sarafe, just wanted a quiet retirement with her daughter, but one final job pulls her back into the magical fray. Chakraborty's picturesque novel should be experienced in audio as Amina, narrated by Lamis Isaac, relates her adventures to a scribe in the tavern, voiced by Amin El Jamal. Superb comic timing will make listeners feel like they are overhearing this epic tale from the next table. Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjabanya, narrated by Shanna Small, Aaron Goodson, Michael Crouch, and Lee Osorio. Books on tape. The violence is visceral in this cleverly structured novel set in future United States. Welcome to a world where convicts are tapped to participate in the newest craze, fights to the death televised for the public viewing pleasure. This multicast production brings each character to life, giving listeners a front row seat, cheering for the winners and mourning the losers. Con Artist, A Life and Crimes of the World's Greatest Art Forger by Tony Tetreault and Giumpero Ambrosi, narrated by Richard Ferrone, Tony Tetreault, and Giumpero Ambrosi, Hachette Audio. Notorious art forger Tetreault and co-author Ambrosi plunge listeners into the seedy world of art dealings in the 1970s and 80s, cocaine dalliances, Ferraris, and booze-soaked antics. From dark secret rooms to trials and royal scandals, Tetreault's tale is never boring. Richard Ferrone's narration complements the story perfectly with gruff, smoky voice that evokes late nights full of cigars and alcohol. Fractal Noise by Christopher Paolini, narrated by Jennifer Hale, Macmillan Audio. The crew of the spaceship Adorama are on a mission of exploration when they encounter a mysterious anomaly on Talos 7. As they undertake an arduous journey to reach the source through harsh, desolate landscapes, the crew faces internal struggles every bit as challenging as the physical trials they are enduring. Jennifer Hale expertly voices a diverse cast of characters, while sound effects ominously punctuate the text, ratcheting up the tension. Happiness Falls by Angie Kim, narrated by Shannon Tayo, Sean Patrick Hopkins, and Thomas Prine. Books on tape. Her father's disappearance impels high-achieving genius Mia to search. The 20-something-year-old's brother Eugene has both autism and Angelman syndrome. He's nonverbal and the only witness. Shannon Tayo conveys Mia's blunt affect through her protectiveness shines through as she analyzes her family, seeking truth. Xenophobia and ability bias permeate the police investigation, with Eugene's testimony as counterpoint, authentically performed by fellow autistic community member Thomas Prine. Sean Patrick Hopkins voices their vanished father in a moving coda. The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride, narrated by Dominic Hoffman. Books on tape. In a small 1930s Pennsylvania town, conflicts involving a few good people and some evil operators boil over. The suspicious deaths of a kindly Jewish woman and incarceration of a Black child galvanize community action. Dominic Hoffman ably employs storytelling cadences of both Jewish and Black speakers. Infinity Gate by M.R. Carey, narrated by Dame Olakoya, Hachette Audio. When Lagos-based physician Hadiz Tamawala succeeds in stepping onto a pristine parallel Earth, she sees relief from resource deprivation for all. Infinite worlds hold infinite human variation and an alliance of Earths already alert against trespassers. From Hadiz's Lagosian lilt to the accents of alternate Nigerias, the modulated tones of AI, Dami Olakoya creates irresistible character voices. As the pandemonium mobilizes for war, her narration masterfully personifies their atrocities across the multiverse. King, A Life by Jonathan Eig, narrated by Dion Graham, Macmillan Audio. In this powerhouse biography, Eig used newly released FBI documents and recordings of Coretta Scott King to augment Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy. Dion Graham's pitch-perfect characterization sweeps the listener along, providing gravitas and warmth and doing justice to the portrayal of this beloved civil rights leader's life. The Laughter by Sonora Jha, narrated by Christopher Grove and Depti Gupta, Harper Audio. Oliver Harding, self-proclaimed man of power, is a smug, tenured academic obsessed with Ruhaba, a female Pakistani colleague. He befriends her nephew at the behest of the FBI with prurient designs on her. Christopher Grove voices Oliver with initial likability, quickly morphing into a chillingly bland tone that reveals his complete lack of moral compass. Depti Gupta reveals Ruhaba as a quite different from Oliver's projections of her. The Love You Save by Goldie Taylor, narrated by Bonnie Turpin, Harlequin Audio. Taylor's memoir of growing up in East St. Louis recounts a childhood full of abuse and neglect, where writing became a solace. Bonnie Turpin gives a dynamic range to the characters of Taylor's life, allowing listeners to sympathize with and love her family as the young girl finds hope in tragedy. The author's indomitability comes through in Turpin's compassionate narrative. Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jesse Q. Satanto, narrated by Eunice Wong, Books on Tape. Widowed, 60-year-old Vera lives a very orderly life in San Francisco's Chinatown until the body of a man is found in her tea shop. Surprised when the police think her meddlesome, she decides to find the killer. Along the way, she plays host, chef, and matchmaker to a variety of suspects. Eunice Wong imbues this cozy mystery with warmth and humor while providing distinct voices for a large cast of eccentric characters. Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, narrated by Helen Laser, Harper Audio. June should be happy for her friend Athena's runaway literary success. But with her own writing career stalled, she is consumed by jealousy. When Athena unexpectedly dies and leaves behind an unfinished manuscript, June takes it and passes it off as her own, but struggles to keep her deception a secret. Helen Laser's voice drips with envy and snark as she superbly captures June's escalating rage. Please join me in a round of applause for these outstanding selections and for our hardworking committee members. And now I'd like to introduce Ron Block, committee member of Essential Cookbooks 2024, the Codes List.
Thank you, Alicia. Each year, the Essential Cookbooks Codes List will focus on a single subject area based on demand, interest, and need, and will offer an annotated list of titles published in the previous year and suitable for public library collections. This list highlights titles for both avid home chefs and those just learning the rewards of making a meal. The list further supports those who appreciate the many joys of reading cookbooks, even if they rarely venture into the kitchen. As judged by librarians who cooked from them and hosted book groups about them, these are the cookbooks from 2023 that will stand the test of time, become reliable favorites, and nourish readers. Here are the titles selected by Chair P.J. Gardner and her committee. Baking Yesteryear, the best recipes from the 1900s to the 1980s by B. Dylan Hollis, DK. Hollis brings his immensely popular exploration of nostalgic baking adventures on social media to the page in this highly entertaining and fun cookbook. He's researched and modernized recipes from antique cookbooks to highlight memorable standouts like tomato soup cake, along with some not so palatable ones like pickle cheesecake. This fun trip down memory lane is sure to spark conversation and experimentation. The Cook's Book, Recipes for Keeps and Essential Techniques to Master Everyday Cooking by Bree McCoy, Revell. Laying out the basics from tools to techniques intended to elevate even the most beginner home cook's game. McCoy recreates her online The Everyday Kitchen Masterclass on the page. Beyond guiding readers through sauces, soups, and sides, there are chapters on everyday food and wine pairings and setting up a bar cart. The author's reassuring you can do it tone shines through in recipes like Eat, Pray, Love Pasta and Julia, Ina, and Bree Walk into a Bar Stew. Every season is soup season. 85 plus super adaptable recipes to batch, share, reinvent, and enjoy by Shelley Westerhausen Worsel and Wyatt Worsel, Chronicle Books. Worsel presents vegetarian recipes with suggested meat additions and interesting twists to satisfy your cravings from hearty to light, hot or cold. Soup, the ultimate comfort food, is naturally versatile and allows everyone to follow the instructions exactly or let their interpretation reflect favorite flavors and on-hand pantry provisions. This compilation of one-pot wonders and embellishments takes cooks from preparation to storage. Gruyere, cauliflower, and potato soup stands out as a velvety masterpiece to savor. The Global Pantry Cookbook. Transform your everyday cooking with tahini, gochujang, miso, and other irresistible ingredients by Ann Taylor Pittman and Scott Malbury. Workman. Kick up your kitchen game with the 51 featured ingredients from anchovies to marmite to za'atar, with a compendium of recipes, food prep, shopping tips, and more. Extensive background is given for each, including source, use, and storage. The authors bring their shared culinary experience and cultural backgrounds with creations like Singapore-ish succotash and Odie McOatface, designed to get those back of the cabinet bottles and jars into rotation. Juke joints, jazz clubs, and juice. Cocktails from 2 centuries of African-American cookbooks by Tony Tipton Martin, Clarkson Potter. In a comfortable chair or as part of a celebration, enjoy the classic and innovative recipes that originated in the United States, Latin America, the Caribbean, and Africa. Tipton Martin provides historical backgrounds for each recipe and a bibliography of unique resources. Readers can also check out no alcohol or zero proof drinks. If you've never heard of an ARF and ARF or a cosmopolitan, gather your friends and try these concoctions. Latinissimo, Home Recipes from the 21 Countries of Latin America by Sandra Gutierrez, Alfred A. Knopf. Gutierrez, a respected food authority, provides an encyclopedic collection of home recipes arranged by ingredient rather than geography. Capturing a broader connection between these primarily Spanish-speaking countries, the author's lifelong collection includes dishes that home cooks make today. And a perfect book to taste and explore Latin American cuisine. Don't miss Pasta con Palta, which is pasta with avocado pesto, or El Picadillo de Niki, which is ground beef with olives and capers. Shabbat, Recipes and Rituals from My Table to Yours by Adina Sussman, Avery. Sussman invites us to experience Sabbath meals from her Tel Aviv kitchen with food created in a relaxed atmosphere with deep cultural roots. Dishes inspired by memories of her youth, along with contributions from chefs and home cooks, encourage us to come together to relax and unwind around a tantalizing table. Since Jewish tradition suggests Sabbath as downtime with little to no work, these dishes showcase sound preparation and smart cooking techniques. Share chicken thighs with roasted figs and grapes with family and friends to nourish souls and appetites. Signature Cocktails by Amanda Schuster, Phaedon Press. Schuster's stylish compilation of cocktails traces 600 years of the evolution of mixology. Each two-page spread relates the creation story, date, and place of origin and the recipe beside a handsome photo of the drink. From well-known classics to contemporary takes, there is something here for every tippler. Plus a set of detailed indices that will make aficionados swoon. The Tasty Suffering Bastard, created in 1943 at the Shepherd's Hotel in Cairo, will quench the thirst of bourbon or brandy and gin lovers and leave them wanting more. Start Here, Instructions for Becoming a Better Cook, a cookbook by Sola El-Waili from Alfred A. Knopf. Not the kitchen sink of cookbooks, but close enough. With clear instructions, beautifully illustrated techniques, honesty, and great humor, El-Waili guides and encourages the readers through essentials for all the major food categories, emphasizing that learning is a process and mistakes can be fixed. Readers will embrace the relevant get loose and what the hell happened pullouts. Start or finish your day with a Better Than Drake's coffee cake. Tenderheart, a cookbook about vegetables and unbreakable family bonds by Hetty Lou McKinnon, Alfred A. Knopf. This approachable and gorgeous vegetable-driven book highlights both the love and care McKinnon shows in her work, as well as her attachment to and appreciation for her heritage. East Asian by way of Australia. Stories of her late father are expertly woven between the recipes, creating a delight for readers who desire a lasting relationship with food, family, and history. Chocolate eggplant brownies and pea and kimchi falafel illustrate the inventive and surprising nature of McKinnon's flavorful fare. Vegetable, Recipes, Techniques, and Plant Science for Big Flavored Vegetable-Focused Meals by Nick Sharma, Chronicle Books. A standout that aims to ensure every cook's success, Sharma offers a number of features that make this cookbook especially pleasurable to cook from, beginning with valuable information on selecting and storing produce, suggested pantry items, and a blessedly minimal amount of tools and equipment. Every section includes lush photography and thought-provoking tidbits on the origins and histories of the star ingredients. If you've ever struggled to love lima beans, try the chili beets plus lima beans with cucumber olive salad. It's like taking off Clark Kent's glasses and finding Superman underneath. A Very Chinese Cookbook, 100 Recipes from China and not China, but still really Chinese, by Kevin Pang and Jeffrey Pang, America's Test Kitchen. In this warm-hearted and deeply personal volume from America's Test Kitchen, bantering father and son duo, the Pangs, educate readers on Chinese cuisine. Detailed ingredient information, tools, and techniques with the help of numerous instructional photos, they translate into many mouth-watering dishes with difficulty ratings from novice to advanced. A simplified scallion pancakes recipe produces perfection in a tradition of the typical steps. Well, please join me in a round of applause for these outstanding selections and our hardworking committee volunteers, chaired by PJ Gardner, co-chair Dodie Owens, myself, Jessica Jones, Jean Motz, Ed Conslair, and Krista Van Herway. And now I'd like to introduce Barbara B. Bell, Chair of RUSA's Sophie Brody Medal Committee.
Thank you, Ron. The Sophie Brody Medal is given annually to encourage, recognize, and commend outstanding achievement in Jewish literature. This year, our hardworking committee read more than 150 books, and the main themes seem to be tracing family histories before the last Holocaust survivors depart, and looking at other lesser known aspects of the history around the World War II area. Before recognizing the winner, I'm happy to announce these honorable mention titles. At the Hour Between Dog and Wolf by Tara Eisen, published by IG Books. Poland, A Greenland, a novel by Aaron Appelfeld, published by Shokin, an imprint of Penguin Random House. Unearthed, A Lost Actress, a Forbidden Book, and a Search for Life in the Shadow of the Holocaust by Meryl Frank, published by Hachette. Palestine 1936, The Great Revolt and the Roots of the Middle East Conflict by Oren Kessler, published by Rowman and Littlefield. And We Are Not Strangers by Josh Tuininga, published by Abrams Comic Arts. And now the winner of the 2024 Sophie Brody Medal. James McBride, author of The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, published by Riverhead, an imprint of Penguin Random House. McBride tells the story of the residents of Chicken Hill, a poor neighborhood in Pottstown, Pennsylvania in the 1930s. The Jewish immigrants and African Americans living there worked to support each other during adversity, racism, and other discrimination, showing the importance of community and love. Please join me in a round of applause for our hardworking committee members: Donald Altschiller, Sean Patrick Boyle, Alexis Braun, Mary Parker, David Suarez, Karen Tenenbaum, Sarah Barbara Watstein, and Connor Williams. These hardworking librarians represent public, academic, and Judaic libraries. And now I'd like to introduce Barry Trott, who will present the winner of the Dartmouth Medal.
Thank you, Barbara. Since 1975, the Dartmouth Medal has honored the creation of a reference work of outstanding quality and significance, including, but not limited to, writing, compiling, editing, or publishing books or electronic information. This year's Dartmouth Committee saw a really wide selection of titles. It was a great year for reference publishing. We had 62 titles, not many when you consider some of the other committees, but a lot of reference books to look through from 13 different publishers. And we were delighted to have a really wonderful selection of books to make a choice from. Before announcing the winner, I'd like to mention the 3 honorable mention titles that we awarded this year. The Oxford Guide to Australian Languages, Oxford University Press, is a milestone work that joins many existing threads of linguistic scholarship together in a wide-ranging overview of Australia's 550 plus Indigenous languages. This title will be an asset not just to scholarship, but also to support efforts of Australian linguistic preservation and expansion. The Critical Survey of Mythology and Folklore, Creation Myths from Salem Press is a well-organized, engaging survey of global answers to humanity's oldest question: where did we come from? This work is bound to fascinate and inspire writers, researchers, and browsers of all ages. And notable writers of LGBTQ+ literature, Salem Press, showcases the essential contributions that LGBTQ+ authors and their creations have made to literature since the dawn of literature itself. Filled with rich biographical information and thought-provoking analyses, students as well as educators or material selectors will find important insight into the diverse array of figures who continue to reshape our understanding of human experience and expression. And now, the winner of this year's Dartmouth Award is Hymenoptera, The Natural History and Diversity of Wasps, Bees, and Ants, written by Stephen A. Marshall and published by Firefly Books. Hymenoptera is the newest in a series of books from the preeminent entomologist Stephen A. Marshall. Hymenoptera are an order of insects that includes ants, bees, sawflies, and wasps, comprising over 160,000 known species, one of the largest orders of species on Earth. Hymenoptera joins Marshall's other celebrated works on insects, representing an enormous contribution to scholarship on the subject. This work is as accessible as it is comprehensive, and its written content is as rich as its stunning collection of photographs. It's a perfect book for existing students of the subject, and its addition to libraries will undoubtedly awaken the budding entomologist within all of us. I'd like to congratulate the winner and our honorable mention titles, and thank our hardworking committee volunteers, Donald Altschiller, Brian Coots, Donna Helmer, Lauren Siegmiller, and Katie Mediator Stover. Thank you so much. And I'd like now to introduce RUSA's final list, which recognizes outstanding reference publications. And I'd like to introduce Jody Borgerding of the RUSA Outstanding Reference Sources Committee.
Thank you so much, Barry. This next list recognizes the most outstanding reference publications for small and medium-sized libraries. The selected titles are valuable reference resources and are highly recommended for inclusion in any library's reference collection. This year, our committee poured over 150 print and electronic reference titles. After reviewing each title, the list was narrowed down to 10 outstanding sources. This year's outstanding reference sources list includes African American Activism and Political Engagement, an Encyclopedia of Empowerment, editor Angela Jones, Bloomsbury Publishing. The Encyclopedia of LGBTQIA+ Portrayals in American Film, editors Erica Joan Diamond and Salvador Jimenez Magura, Rowman and Littlefield. Executive Speech Doctor, Engaging with Community Audiences in Person and Online by Robert J. Weiss, McFarland. Forgotten African American First, an Encyclopedia of Pioneering History by Hans J. Ostrom and J. David Macy Jr. Greenwood. Global Dishes, Favorite Meals from Around the World by Karen E. Newman, Lori L. Parks, and Joel G. Parks, Bloomsbury Academic. Latino Literature, an Encyclopedia for Students, edited by Christina Soto van der Plas and Lacey Ray Buckwalter Cunningham. Martin Luther King Jr., a reference guide to his life and works, Significant Figures in World History by Peter L. Ling and David DeVerick, Rowman and Littlefield. The New International Volunteer, a hands-on guide to sustainable and inclusive development by Elizabeth C. Medlin, Toplight Books. The Scopes Trial, an encyclopedic history by Randy Moore and Susan E. Brooks, McFarland. And finally, Women and Popular Culture, the Evolution of Women's Roles in American Entertainment by Laura L. Finley, Greenwood. Please join me in a round of applause for the winners and our hardworking committee volunteers. This committee is chaired by Jeanne Stump and also includes Joshua Newport, Rebecca Freeman, Philip Ballo, and Donna Helmer. And now I'd like to welcome back Danielle Baraski, Vice President of Novelist.
Thank you, Jody. Hi, I'm Danielle Baraski. I am delighted to be here today as a sponsor of this event. It's always one of my favorites as we get to hear about the very best books out there for libraries and readers. At Novelist, we know that putting the right book in the right person's hands at the right moment can be transformative in that person's life. We know that reading can inspire, teach, grow, and more. And our hope is that we are transformed for the better by what we read, that we absorb it and by some magic process gain insights that we would not have otherwise had. But getting to that impact is a long game. It can take decades to see the results. And I like to think that that possibility of creating meaning from books in people's lives is what keeps all of us who work in this field going. This is Novelist's 30th year in business. So we know a little bit about playing a long game. We love the idea that what we do helps people find the books that will have meaning for them. We often talk about what to read, and we've heard a lot about some of the best books to read today. But I'd also like to just share a quick thought, something that I've learned recently about how we read. How we read is significant because it has been changing over time. Where we used to read mostly in print, we now read a lot more in digital form. And we've developed habits from using our phones and watching TV that make it more likely that we read quickly and jump around. And research has found that that habit of scanning and skimming has really rewired our brains a bit And it means that we absorb information differently than we did before. It's also changed our ability to make meaning from what we read. And the general sense is that this might not actually be a good thing. We might not be better off as a result of those changes. The kind of reading that you're doing makes a difference. And so my own goal this year, when I'm reading some of the really excellent books that we heard about today, fiction in particular, is to intentionally slow down and read more thoughtfully. And my wish for all of you is that you have the opportunity to do the same. Novelist is very proud to work alongside all of you in this effort to change lives through books and reading. We're delighted to sponsor this event and thank ALA and RUSA for the opportunity once again. And now I'd like to turn it over to Arissa Damron, who is chair of the Carnegie Selection Committee.
Thank you very much, Danielle. And thank you to everyone at RUSA and Booklist for all your work over the years to support the Andrew Carnegie Medals for Excellence in Nonfiction and Fiction. The Carnegies were created in 2012 to recognize the best fiction and nonfiction books for adult readers published in the United States in the previous year. The medals continue to reflect the expert judgment and insight of library and book industry professionals who work closely with adult readers. I'm honored to be here as chair of the 2024 Carnegie Medal Selection Committee. We 7 spent a very busy year reading and discussing many, many books. Please give a round of applause for this year's Andrew Carnegie Medal Selection Committee. Montoya Barker, Lillian Dabney, Marlene Harris, Audrey Aiwei Huang, Lori Unger Skinner, and Hannah Zettel. Over the year, we read voraciously, met often, and gradually achieved consensus on a rich and varied long list of 45 exceptional books. From this mountain of literary treasures, we continued to chisel away until we were left with the best of the best, the 3 works of fiction and 3 works of nonfiction that make up our shortlist. We're here this morning to recognize these 6 finalists, their outstanding contributions to our literary landscape, and their significant gifts to readers. Let's begin by celebrating the Carnegie finalists in nonfiction. The Great Displacement, Climate Change and the Next American Migration by Jake Biddle, published by Simon & Schuster. This multifaceted examination considers numerous U.S. communities that have been wiped out by changing weather patterns and foretells a future filled with additional displacements. Environmental journalist Biddle uses a combination of science reporting and individual stories to explain the fate of towns deemed uninhabitable, presenting powerful and moving evidence, and ending with a plea for comprehensive environmental policy change and urgent action. The Talk by Darren Bell, published by Henry Holt and Company. In 2019, Bell became the first Black editorial cartoonist to win a Pulitzer Prize. I won for pointing out what's broken, he explained to his young son. In this brilliant graphic memoir, Bell's growth from a trusting child afraid of dogs to an esteemed, nationally syndicated cartoonist is a marvel to witness through his spectacular panels and pages. With impressive art that makes audiences listen, this is a must-read manifesto against racist brutality. We Were Once a Family, a story of love, death, and child removal in America by Roxana Asgharian, published by Farrar, Straus, and Giroux. In 2018, 2 women deliberately drove themselves and their 6 children off a cliff into the Pacific Ocean. While there was a considerable speculation about the parents, who were married and white, the media paid little attention to the 6 Black children who had been adopted from 2 different families. Investigative reporter Asgharian's years of work getting to know the children's birth families uncovered a devastating web of intergenerational poverty, violence, and wrenching separations. She exposes the tragedy of what happened and the ongoing, insupportable failings of the foster care system. Let's now turn to the 3 fiction Carnegie finalists, beginning with The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters, published by Catapult. In 1962, an indigenous Mi'kmaq family is in Maine to pick summer blueberries when their youngest child, 4-year-old Ruthie, disappears. Her 6-year-old brother, Joe, saw her last. Told in alternating first-person chapters from Joe and a narrator called Norma, This fascinating braided novel follows the painful reverberations of Ruthie's disappearance across 5 decades. While little is easy for Peter's characters, in the end, for all of them, there is hope. Denison Avenue by Christina Wong and Daniel Inez, published by ECW Press. In a mixed media narrative saturated with a sense of poignancy and grief, Wong Cho-sum navigates the sudden death of her husband by a hit-and-run driver. As an invisible elderly observer, she compares the old Chinatown she remembers with this new, slowly gentrifying one, and not all the changes are for the better. Inez's detailed and beautiful hand-drawn illustrations are eye-catching compliments to Wong's writing. Let Us Descend by Jessamine Ward, published by Scribner, an imprint of Simon & Schuster. Sold away from her mother, teenage Annis, daughter of a Black mother and the white man who enslaved them, must endure a grueling march to the slave markets of New Orleans, with only her wits and her mother's ivory awl to help her survive. On the road, she encounters spirits who offer counsel and bear witness to her unspeakable suffering. Ward's vivid imagery and emotionally resonant prose convey the horrors of chattel slavery in stark, unforgettable detail. Please honor these 6 extraordinary books with a round of applause. And now for the winners. The 2024 Carnegie Medal for Excellence in Nonfiction goes to We Were Once a Family, a story of love, death, and child removal in America by Roxana Asgharian, published by Farrar, Straus, and Giroux. And the 2024 Carnegie Medal for Excellence in Fiction goes to The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters, published by Catapult. The Carnegie celebration will continue with a medal presentation, a very special event featuring the winning authors and a guaranteed to be dazzling keynote speaker, which will take place at the San Diego Public Library during ALA's annual summer conference this June. We hope to see you all there. For now, please visit Booklist online and enjoy the recommended reading list created by the Carnegie finalists, and please help get the word out about our incredible winners. Thank you so much for celebrating with us today. Sarah Hashimoto, back to you.
Wow, that was such an exciting morning. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you to all the committee members for your hard work and many hours of listening and reading. As RUSA stated, be sure to join us as we continue to honor these books and authors during our in-person Carnegie celebration at the San Diego Public Library at the ALA annual conference in June, as well as during RUSA's Literary Luminaries author panel, which will take place on Sunday morning, June 30th. Authors and special guests will be announced at a later date, so keep an eye out for that. Additional best of lists selected by RUSA sections, including best historical materials and others, can be found at rusaupdate.org next week. Finally, we invite you to register for the 3rd annual RUSA Virtual Forum to be held Tuesday, March 5th and Thursday, March 7th. The RUSA Virtual Forum theme is Reference Revolution, AI plus more, and will showcase the work of our sections and interest groups. More information can be found at www.ala.org/RUSA. This concludes our 2024 Book and Media Awards. Thank you all again for attending. We hope you enjoyed this event, and we look forward to seeing you again when it's safe and healthy to do so.